So I started off, I was 158 point something, and I'm now 118.6.
Whoa.
Christ.
Wow. Welcome back to Lose to Win, the podcast. Myself, Jack, Ben, and Josh. How are we all doing, gentlemen?
All good, thank you,
Yes,
mate. Good
we're
evening,
good,
everybody.
thank you, yeah.
Good,
Very
good.
good.
I'd like to introduce a very special guest that we've got with us tonight. We know that we like to have some people from the community, and this particular fella has been there from the start and is a integral part of the community and somebody that we all have been desperate to get on the pod. And he did feature in a little interview recently. It's Super Dimi. How are you, mate?
Hi guys, yeah, all good, thanks.
Hey, good evening, mate. Great
Yeah.
to have you on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great to be here.
Top man.
Looking
I know we
forward to
say it
this.
to everybody, but you are definitely one that we've been talking about for a long, long time about getting on as an integral part of the community and somebody that that especially in the last kind of 2 seasons at least has really kicked on and really started to turn the screw and shift the weight and do everything you can to make yourself a healthier, slimmer you, as well as support your team in that as well. So we are really
Very
really happy to have you,
excited.
mate.
We're very excited,
Yeah.
Dimmy. That's what we are.
Yeah.
I feel like the bar's
Ben's
been
gonna
set
do
really
his-
high.
Mate,
I'm
Dude,
gonna
I've been
need to
singing
point you
phrases
in
for
higher.
weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm like, yeah, we've got to get Dimmy on there. Dimmy this, Dimmy that. He's going under the radar. Look at him.
Yeah,
Love it.
definitely.
Love it, mate.
And I'm sure you're going to push that bar even higher, mate. That's the idea. We keep getting strong with them. So I'm sure Ben's going to do his usual interrogation and questioning and a deep dive. You walk away feeling like
into Dimmy.
a seat in his therapy chair for the next hour. So yeah, it's like I say, mate, really really good to have you. And Josh, should we get stuck into last week's results?
Yes, well, it was week 1, wasn't it? After a week off for us and a week off for the league in general. Where to start, really? Well, it was a mixed bag. Overall weight loss was disappointing, let's just say.
Yeah.
Collectively, we put on 9.8 kilos. But a few
dear.
individual gains kind of make that look worse than it actually is. That said, it's still a start that shows how much the week off such attitude can derail progress. So we need to get back into the good habits that served us well last season. I have no doubt we will. It's just that week in the middle is always a little bit of a slip up for many, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then again, there are lots of individual success stories, plus at least one colossal team success to celebrate this week. Or last week, I should say. We'll come to those in a minute, but the results firstly. So to start the season, Blues won 13-10 against the Yellows. Oranges won 10-8 against the Reds. Whites won 7-6 against us Blacks. And the Purples won 14-10 against the reigning champion Greens.
Oh, what a start. What a start,
indeed.
Jackie.
That fixture computer wasn't kind to us, and we definitely definitely were up against it first week. We needed an outcome, and we certainly got it.
They were planned, though,
absolutely. Very
right?
well
They were
done.
planned. You said 2 weeks ago that you'd had a couple up your sleeve. Kept them for the
Yeah,
kept them for the first week of the season. Sneaky beaky.
I think one of which was definitely one that was on the horizon, and a particular person was just a little bit careful around how he weighed in one week to the next. But the other caught us completely by surprise, which was well and truly needed in the end as well, which was good.
Happy days, mate. Happy days.
Just to put fixture gate number 2 aside, by the way, the Greens aren't the beneficiaries of the early games this season.
No, it's Dimmy's lot.
Despite winning the title. Yeah, it's Dimmy's lot and the Yellows.
Oh,
who
boo,
won't have a game.
It's... You'll find, Dimmy, you're not going to get anywhere near as much shit as the Blues get. So
no,
you'll be
absolutely.
fine. Ben's already noticed that, haven't you, Ben?
Oh, yeah. No one even mentioned it, I don't think.
Well,
Just
Captain Gareth
accepted our fate.
Captain Gareth played a blinder and got us the early kickoffs.
Yeah, good lad. He had a word with Steve, didn't he?
He did.
Word in his ear.
There was some favours passed, I think, but we shan't spread vicious. Yeah, we shan't spread vicious rumours.
Anyway, there was 3 on-pitch draws that showed how close the footballing side of things has become, by the way. But that makes the weight loss all the more important for anyone with dreams of lifting a trophy at the end of the season. Ironically, the only on-pitch winners, the Blues, were outscored on the scales by the Oranges, meaning that all 8 teams are off the mark in at least one of the 3 leagues, generally speaking, which is a good one. I think actually that wasn't the case last season, was it? A couple were waiting to get off the mark on a couple of leagues.
White struggled, didn't they? And they didn't win one for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, your Super Purples, Jack, were the biggest losers, with 9 out of 10 of you losing weight.
Yeah, that's great.
The odd man out was Jordan, by the way, who, considering that in fact he's just joined the league, he couldn't lose weight as he was establishing a baseline weight. So, welcome to the club, Jordan.
So that's basically 100%, really.
Yeah, exactly.
It was, absolutely, all that could did, which was the important thing, and and more than some of us expected, and a couple of milestones in there really make a difference too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We had 3 others, by the way, who joined us, Stuart and 2 Jameses. So welcome to the league, lads.
Yes, welcome, boys.
Yeah, sure welcome, guys.
Collectively, by the way, your Purples lost 10.7 kilos, with no fewer than 6 players losing more than 1 kilo. So
great stuff.
That means, 6 of you in not last man.
Team of the week.
Yeah, it's last man week.
Grace week. We gained Grace week for last week.
Gained some Grace weeks. Yeah, that's the.
And you won your bonus goals as well, right?
Yeah,
because there was a bonus goal incentive.
Yes, indeed. We'll get to that in a second. So, they weren't the only losers, by the way. 4 of the 8 teams moved the scales in the right direction, but they were the biggest, the Purples, by quite a distance. If last week is anything to go by, I guess Purples are the new Greens this year. So.
It's early days. Come on now, let's be careful.
Hey, it's Steve who said that. I just say quick reminder. Steve writes this, I read it.
I think there's enough of there's enough of competition within what the Greens can do or potentially do again, or what they've shown, what the Blues are very capable of doing. We really know anybody that wins this season has to be bang on it. There's no Christmas. There's no anything in the middle, so I think there's potential to be a record.
Don't forget Easter. Easter.
Don't forget Josh's eggs.
Right, Everyone's got to buy Josh an egg. He wants an egg.
No. I don't know where this has come from, lads.
But that being said, I still think Tim even messaged actually after the game and said, like, cracking start, well done, and everything like that. And he's like, he's convinced somebody will get a record season. Whoever does it this season will need to be bang on it all season to win it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Relentless.
As you alluded to, by the way, lads, Purples are the comfortable winners of the team weight loss incentive challenge as such, which earns them 2 goals for their week 2 match, which is against us Blacks. Lovely.
Oh, man.
Yellows and Oranges each had 5 players losing weight, so they both get 1 goal bonus next week against the Greens and your Blues, respectively.
Yeah, we got Oranges this week. Apparently there's a game at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, what?
Have you got
first one?
Is this your first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to bring your blanket and your cocoa with you, Ben?
Definitely, mate. I'll have to. Straight to bed.
I am quite intrigued on that note, by the way, because obviously I know this isn't mentioned, but because you've had early games last season, I guess you never got to find out how many of your team can or can't make late games. Obviously, this season being that you will have late games. So
this is it.
Are you finding that that's going to be an issue? I mean,
ironically, the first one actually means George can come. Because if we'd had an earlier game, he wouldn't have made it. So, in actual fact, having a late one this has worked out okay. He is going to miss a few, bless him, because he's got quite a lot on at work. But that's the same for everybody, and everyone has other commitments that they can't necessarily do. So, it'll be interesting.
Good.
We're looking good. Yeah, well, I think we've gotten. Dan's come back from illness, so hopefully he'll be available. So we might have a full squad, which will be nice. Makes it hard for subs, of course.
To it, Ben. You get to experience the lights being turned off and you not being able to find any shit on the side.
Do they literally go off at 10:30?
And it's
they do.
It's not just dark. It's like
it's dark down
middle of nowhere dark.
So, brilliant. I look forward to that then. Thanks.
The rush to pick up your stuff at the end of a 10 p.m. game. Hey?
It's all right because we're playing the Oranges, so we just use Ruben's shirt to see.
Oh yeah. Ruben, the traffic cone, should be able to.
He can light the way.
Show the way. Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. By the way, we did know we'd have at least one milestone last week, carried over from last season, but that one is joined by 4 more.
Yeah, amazing.
Frenzy
That.
of percentage-based achievement. So the all-conquering purples accounted to 2/5 of this, with Chris Cowan earning his 5% just a few weeks into his Man v Fat career,
good.
and teammate
Legend.
Ed Dowling reaching his 10%.
Brilliant.
Very good, lads. Ravnath collected his delayed 15%, while Clubman Ollie and living legend, by the way, of the pod today, Dimi, both joined the elite 25% club.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Ollie has lost by 36 kilos,
which is insane.
Yeah, which is only beaten by one other, which we'll come to in a bit so far. So 38 players have secured their places in last man standing, including the 4 new signings who were counted as losing weight for the purposes of last man standing. So that leaves 28 who gained weight, plus 17 who were unable to attend. By rights, those 45 should be out of last man standing, but Steve is offering them a lifeline this week.
Very kind of him.
Yes. Anyone who would otherwise be out of the competition can save themselves by losing 1 kilo or more this week.
Yeah, fair. So, that's fair, I think. No, that's fair.
Yeah, this will put them back in the competition, but without a grace week. This is their grace week, essentially. So if they make it, in the interest of fairness, anyone currently in the competition, but without a grace week, can have a second chance to earn one if they lose 1 kilo this week.
Good shout.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
At what point does what's the next point of the last man standing goals kicking in? Is it every 10 that's lost? Is it?
Yes, usually speaking. I think 40.
Ask Dimi. He's the last man. He's the king of the last man standing.
Do you remember Dimi?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think it's 40. The first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Or a certain number of weeks into the season. I can't remember precisely which.
If there's 4 weeks in, you get a bonus goal if you're still in it. I think that's what we did before, wasn't it?
So, anyway, on to team of the week. The new captain of our Super Blacks, Jimmy, leads the season's first All-Star selection with an impressive 3.5 kilo.
Good Lord.
Loss.
Well done, mate.
That is a captain's performance and a half,
isn't it? Christ.
Yes, very good. So he leads team of the week. And then as follows. So we have George Howe with 2.4 kilos. Ollie lost 2.2. Jamie Crispin lost 1.8. Kevin lost 1.6. Jesus lost 1.5.
Yeah. Well, Jesus.
Chris Cowan lost 1.5 and Tom Dowling lost 1.5. As we mentioned, that's full of purples, isn't it, really? So
yeah,
or at
like
least
a
on
bunch
that
of
list.
grapes.
A bunch of grapes.
No, they're the worst ones, man. Green ones, green grapes. Just
no way.
Great.
Sorry. So we're not where we wanted to be unless we're the purples, but we all have a pretty good idea of what we need to do to get there. We can still make this a record-breaking weight-busting season. So, and most importantly, take a huge individual step each towards healthier, happier lives. So there we are. There's our roundup.
Yes, well done. Well done, lads. There's some good stuff in there.
Another full season to come. We're looking forward to it. And then we change teams again, don't we?
We do, end of this season.
Quick, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's gone so quick.
I think it feels that way because we added 2 more teams this last season. So
yeah, definitely. Where do you boys stand at the moment around continuing, Ben? I know that you're getting towards a weight that you're comfortable and happy with. Are you going to continue? What's your thoughts at this stage?
Well, ironically, I was at a weight I was comfortable with, but I appear to have gone the wrong way over the last few weeks. But I've got a new sort of outlook and a new regime that I'm
lease of life.
Yeah, I think so. I feel quite a bit kind of invigorated for this season, so I feel a bit more engaged, and I've got a little side bet going on with Tim on my team.
Oh, nice.
Which we'll see how that goes, but no, I feel quite pumped for this season, so I'll see how I go this season. I was talking to Josh and Steve about it on Friday, and I've set myself a goal, and I want to see. I don't think it's particularly achievable, but I want to try, and if I can, see how I go. So I'm really going to push for this 3 months and see where I'm at the end of it. It's one of those things, though, isn't it? It's become more than Fat Bournemouth has become more than a kind of a weight loss program for a lot of us, I think, especially people who've been there a long time. It's become kind of a social club as well. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think I'll be able to. I'd really struggle, I think, to knock it on the head.
Yeah.
Because I've made some really good friends, and I really enjoy the camaraderie, and I really enjoy, what happens and the way that, chasing the league. And I don't know. I think I'd struggle to walk away from it. I don't know.
I think it's safe to say that it'd leave a hefty hole in all of our Friday evenings if
definitely,
if we were to step away. It's something that I'm nowhere near considering at this stage. I wish I was in terms of when I look back at how long we've done it for. I think the three of us in here certainly were from very early on, if not the very start.
Yeah.
You kind of, I think the end goal is to be able to walk away from it, but I think even at that point, when I am to where I want to be, I'd still struggle to step away. My wife always says, when you're gonna stop. Obviously, I know it's a bit of a running joke that people believe that I'm no longer with my wife and living with my children. The amount of football
a figment of your imagination, mate.
I play, they just they don't exist. But she understands that I love my football. Obviously, my Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever nights I do it, and I'm at a point where when I stop, I don't think I'll start again.
Yeah.
And that scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to give it up. I love everything about it, as everybody probably picks up on this podcast. I coach my lads team and heavily involved with all of that as well. It's just a massive passion of mine. And myself and my wife have been together since we were 17. We're married 10 years this year, and she knew what she was getting herself in for, and she's just come to accept it. It's just part and parcel of
You're a lucky man,
of our
buddy.
lives.
Yeah,
very much
You're a
so.
lucky
Yeah,
man.
I certainly count my lucky stars.
Yeah,
and for my son and my daughter to be falling in love with it as well. I'm actually taking Taylor, my daughter, to the Arsenal Tottenham North London derby at the Emirates, the women's North London derby, which is set to be another sellout, 61,000 sellout. So that will be hugely exciting. Her first trip there should be cool.
Yeah,
amazing.
Man.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I'm
sorry,
not going to leave
sidetrack a little bit. So. No.
Yeah.
What about you, Dimi? What's your intentions, my friend? Where are you with it all?
To be honest, I've not really given it much thought. I can't picture not playing on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So I haven't really thought about maybe not doing it.
No. I think you're in the exact same boat as us.
As long as I'm still enjoying it and stuff, and it's still fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Thought about it, to be honest.
I think one thing to consider for the new people in the group that will be involved in the first team shake-up is that it may feel a little daunting and a little bit shit to start with, and you might think, oh, I don't know this person, or might not even get on with that person, or may have had something happen in the past with them. It's amazing how quickly that's put aside when you're thrown together, not even just put together. When you're thrown together as a team, it's probably the best thing for the collective weight loss, and also the best thing for the league in terms of competitiveness when it comes to on the pitch as well. Steve, Josh, and Dan will be heavily involved with making those changes and making the right changes. And I think that's the important thing, that three people, and Liam as well, three people there that will you can really trust and understand that they've got the right intentions for the league. And I as sad as it will be, I always look forward to that change and to see where things go. I can't wait for that first message that comes out with a list of who's got who. It's always exciting times.
Yeah. I'll see. Anyway, we do have a guest, Dimi.
We do.
So I'll hand over to you, Jack. This is where you do your nice little icebreakery stuff, isn't it? So
so
I'm looking forward to this bit, I have to say.
So the three of us know, but if you want to share with everybody else, Who do you support, Dimi?
I'm a Newcastle fan. And
see, now I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have picked that. I'm interested to know why you're a Newcastle fan.
To be honest, it was just the way they played football and stuff when I was younger. So I was round about the Shearer sort of era when I really got into. You know, I always watched football, but it was a lot different when we were young, wasn't it? We had was it Football Italia on a Saturday morning, and then if you were lucky, you'd get the odd FA Cup game or the cup finals on BBC, and if you could last up till 10:30 for match of the day at 7 or 8, you might got to watch it, but there's none of this sort of on-demand stuff and repeats and stuff. So it must have been about 10 or 11 when I really started following Newcastle. It's just the way they played and sort of the attacking style, and you know, not minding if you lost as long as you give it a good go. And I was quite drawn to the fan base as well. You know, the way that they were and the passion and stuff, and it just sat right with me.
Is it the no t-shirts? You know, just felt like that's my back.
Yeah, exactly that.
Have you got NUFC tattooed across your belly and waved in black and white top above your head?
That's a rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Key to the city.
Yeah.
In terms of your favourite player, who's in your memory? Who's your current or favourite player, past or present?
I thought you were going to ask this. It is a tricky one.
You can give us multiple if you've got multiple.
I mean, Shearer was just an absolute ledge, wasn't he? So we've got to go with Shearer. I do weirdly Shay Given for me as well. You know, for his service and what he did and how good he was.
Yeah, what a legend.
And then
all round nice guy as well, I think, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And then you know, Gary Speed was a great player as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Rob Lee, and you know, and then even I quite liked Kabai as well. He was a good player with us as well. And Ben Arthur, when he was on fire, was just immense. And
Chet Tiote as well, somebody that reminds me of that sort of era as well.
Yeah,
I'll never forget him obviously being a gooner and him scoring that 4-0 down at half time or where it was, to
brilliant
equalise, just mental.
Yeah, and then sort of from the current crop, I sort of can get on board with Gordon. He's done really well, to be fair, and he always gives 100%, which I'm sort of massively in favour of.
I like how you phrase that though. I can sort of get on board with him. Like it's reluctant.
To be honest, I was a little bit reluctant when we got him. I thought it was just, you know, just a young English player who's doing all right at Everton, so we just threw a load of money at him. And he never really, he's always done all right, isn't he? But he never really set the world on fire, and I just wasn't sure how he'd fit in and stuff. But actually, he's been bloody brilliant. And to be fair to him, he was brilliant at the under-21s tournament, where he player of the tournament or top goal scorer or whatever. And he's done really well, and he's really stepped up, you know, in terms of I think he's a bit of a leader now as well, there, isn't he? So
I think he's quite versatile as well, though, isn't he? Because he can play in midfield. He can play. He's played up top a few times as well. So
he has,
He's quite a useful player to have, I think.
Yeah,
not much choice at the moment with the injuries, really. Isn't it?
It's awful, isn't it? Yeah, but big Bruno fan as well, and I think Sven Botman is really underrated by a lot, and Fabian Schär's got to be value for money, the pound for pound best buy. I think it's got to be up there in the Premier League. Yeah.
We'll have to be careful with the Brunos, by the way. Jack isn't a fan of them.
Anyone can Bruno.
Neither of the fuckers. You're right. I don't.
I can get
Bruno
Guimaraes. I can get on board with Fernandes. I don't like him at all, but the good Bruno is obviously a legend in himself, isn't he?
Absolutely. I can see why, as me and Josh have back and forth a few times, I can see why he's the type of player that you want on your team rather than against you, and they're both individually quality, and I can see why. Do you have a standout memory, something that's made you fall in love with the club, or your first visit, or whatever that may be?
Memory-wise, I think for me it's got to be we went to Southampton away, which is a fixture I try and go to quite a lot anyway. But it was my oldest son's first away game, and it was also the game that Bruno Guimaraes scored his first goals from Newcastle. Scored two, called a little backheel volley, was it, from a corner? And that was right in front of us. Yeah. And I was, with away games and stuff, it can get a little bit rowdy. My son's he's 8 now, so he must have been seven at the time. And I was a little bit. I'm sure it was a Tuesday night as well, and it was a delay. It was a rescheduled fixture, and I was always a little bit nervous about taking him to an away game. But everyone was bloody brilliant with him, to be honest with you. We were walking around Southampton with all the Newcastle fans. Everyone was asking him, like, who's your favourite player? What do you think the score's going to be? And there was no troubles, and even people that sat around us were sort of helping him get up on his seat so he could see over everyone else that was standing, because obviously Newcastle away is standing for 2 hours. It was brilliant, and obviously we won. Bruno scored his first goals literally right in front of us as well, and we just sang for 90 minutes, and it was brilliant. So that for me ranks up there. But I don't know. My first game was Blackburn away, which we lost, but we filled out Ewood Park at the way end, which was brilliant. And then the other one that's quite high up there was managed to get tickets to Newcastle Brentford, which would have been Eddie Howe's first game, but he got COVID on the Friday.
Oh, of course he did. I remember.
Yeah. So it was a 3-3 draw. It was obviously a great game, but it was just after the takeover. Eddie Howe's first game. It was just absolutely buzzing up there, and it was my son's first trip up to St James's. So it was just like all the stars had aligned. Like, we'd got the tickets before Eddie Howe had been appointed and stuff. So, for it all just to work out like that was really good.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you're right. That away experience is something that will live with him forever. Funny enough, my first away game with Arsenal was at Ewood Park as well. Me and Luke drove up to Ewood Park. We saw, don't know if anybody remembers, it's Theo Walcott actually broke the net scoring a goal weirdly in the bottom corner. It was a game that was delayed, not almost like the delays that we have nowadays, but for a genuine reason rather than them just adding time on for the sake of it. And it was like a 15-minute delay or something crazy from memory. Yeah, that was my also my first away location, which is a coincidence.
Brilliant.
Bit of a dive as well in that old Blackburn.
Yeah, it's on the miles away from the train station as well. We've got the train. So I went to university up in Bolton, and my brother and a friend came up, and it just happened to be the weekend that Newcastle were playing. So we got tickets and shot up on the train, which was like 20 minutes away. And then someone foolishly told us, it's only around the corner, and we started walking. It's like 25 minutes later, we're up a massive hill in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. We chose to drive it there and back in the day, and obviously that's quite a journey. And I remember putting my brother on the insurance, and he must have drove about 100 yards. I was like, no, I can't have somebody else drive my car, and I just jumped back in the driver's seat and carried on driving. It was a good memorable day out. Very enjoyable for sure.
How are you feeling about the current season then, Dimi? As a fan?
To be honest, I'm not pressing panic buttons, and I've stopped just reading stuff on Twitter and stuff. I'm just fed up of hearing about it, to be honest. I think there's a lot of Eddie Howe can't do a top 10 team and blah. I can't even start to understand why people are talking about it. No. We've had a season where we've had a lot of injuries, and it's difficult, isn't it? This is like top level football. We're playing Champions League as well. PSG, Dortmund, and Milan. It's not an easy group, and there's games where we've not even made a sub, let alone the subs that we do bring on are obviously really inexperienced and not amazing. So for me, it's just a learning curve. It's a write-off, and I'm sort of a little bit glad we didn't go mental in January either, because we've got all these players to come back. So then you're going to have to juggle and manage all that as well. And And I just think we're long out of the days where there's like a top 4. So for me, there's like 10 teams that could finish the Champions League, and some years you're going to do it, some years you're not. And I just think people just need to be ready for it.
Yeah, definitely.
So the fact that we've got Champions League first time in, I don't know, was it like 10, 12 years or whatever, or 14 years, whatever it was, I'm happy. We smashed PSG. That night will live with me forever. So if we have to finish 10th or 8th and have a sort of a bit of a depleted squad and slowly start building up, then that's fine. I mean, I'd take that. It's just the way it is. It's just
I think when that group came out, I don't think anyone expected Newcastle to progress from that group. To be fair.
Oh no. The fans, though, from a fan perspective, from a fan perspective, I was thinking like you'd be loving it. Really, in some respects, you'd be loving it.
Totally. Some of those days away.
Three amazing teams to play against in your first season back in. So, do
you think you could argue that it all happened a bit probably too soon, and this season is probably a better or is a product of that, but also is kind of a better gauge of where things are, where you are this year definitely a lot less consistent as you were. If you think about the fact that Liverpool are obviously in Europa League, so they weren't able to get top 4. Chelsea were Chelsea as well, both having a pretty poor season last season. Do you think I guess the timing worked perfectly, and you may be in the in that place at that moment?
I think I'd probably give Newcastle a little bit more credit. I see exactly what you're saying. There was, we all lucked out with Chelsea not doing very well, and Liverpool didn't have a great season last year. And there is definitely that does play into it. But we played really well last year. We had a good year. We gave, even the games that we lost, we gave teams a good run for their money and stuff, and stuff. And this year it's just really difficult, isn't it? Like I said, I mean, the squad's depleted, and I don't think
you've been absolutely shattered by it, haven't you?
I think last season we may have overreached a little bit, but I think this year we're getting a little bit punished because of, well, not punished as in a bad way, but our position is a reflection of the squad that we've got available. We haven't really got a fit striker, to be honest. Isaac and Wilson have been rotating like sort of 3 games each before they really have to have time off, and even like Harvey Barnes, who's come back for the past couple of weeks, has looked really good. And you just think, imagine if we had him for the whole season, we could swap out Miggy and Gordon and give them a little bit of a rest. And that first game of the season against Villa was, things were looking brilliant. Harvey Barnes.
He's a great buy, man. He's a great buy.
Yeah. Even the players that came on at half time against Villa, Harvey Barnes comes on, scores, gets an assist. Everything was just brilliant, and you could see how the whole squad was going to work. And we've not been able to replicate that again.
It's credit to Eddie Howe. I know we can big him up because I'm biased. Let's be honest. I love Eddie Howe. I think he's much better than he's given credit for at the top levels of the game. The whole thing about we need to get rid of Eddie Howe and we need to bring in an elite manager. Well, what's to say that Eddie isn't an elite manager himself already? He's just not. I don't know. Anyway, we could go on that for ages, but that's my only concern as well, by the way, for if you have a couple of poor seasons, is that Eddie will end up losing his job unfairly, in my opinion. All the better for another team, maybe, but I just feel like,
for me,
hopefully the national team.
I think maybe a little bit too young to take that, because I think his bread and butter is in managing teams and coaching players. I think for him to then go
day to day of it,
and then move out, I can see him doing it. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's had a year off already, isn't he? So I don't think he'd want to then step back and do the sort of 4 games a year and then a tournament every other year. Don't get me wrong.
It probably is.
Liverpool might come in for him. How about that?
That's interesting, isn't it? No, I don't think they will, though.
No, I don't think they will. Just throwing it out there. I think a bit of controversy.
Probably a conversation for another day, but just to touch on it, I think Eddie must have in the back of his mind that that's something that he wants to do at some point. You wonder if you're offered it and you say no, does that ship could sail, couldn't it? Things could go against you, and we know how fickle and how difficult club football.
I think you've got to be honest. I think if the national, I think it was. I read a book. I read someone's autobiography fairly recently, and it said they were offered the England job, and that's the job. That's the one job in football that you absolutely cannot turn down, regardless.
Yeah. Well, any Englishman couldn't, definitely not. I think there might be some foreign managers that might take a second or reconsider. But yeah, I think you're right. I think I just feel that however this summer goes, I feel there may be there's going to be a change, and I just deep down we said for a long time as keep an eye on Bournemouth and Bournemouth fans that I think he was destined to do it, and he was the next manager suitable for it. I just feel if he doesn't take it next, he might miss the boat.
Well, he's still young though, and he's only in his 40s, isn't he? So he's got plenty of time. But you're right. If you turn it down, maybe. No, I don't know. You don't know, dear. I think there'll already be someone. They'll already have a list of people who are likely to take over from Southgate. That will have been.
Oh, I'm sure.
They'll have drafted that a long time ago, so there'll already be names in the hat. He must be one.
Be available.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Klinsmann, he's available again.
Yeah, and anyway, moving on. Come on, Josh. Sorry.
Well, no, I was only going to say, I assume, Dimi, by the way, that you're a mad lover of Eddie Howe and not one of these Eddie Howe out brigade fans I do see on Twitter and things like that, which you've very wisely stepped away from.
Eddie Howe, for me, has got a job for life at Newcastle. And in fact, anyone that sort of kept us up after, we were damned to get relegated. Even players like Miggy, who were linked to get out with, they can stay there as long as they want, as far as I'm concerned. When the chips were down, they were there. Bruno came in from, he left Lyon. A lot of teams were after him. He came. Dan Burns getting a lot of stick. And I know he's not been playing well. I'm not suggesting he's the best left back in the world, but he came to us.
He's done all right.
Yeah, he's done all right. He's come to us, and he helped us get up there. He's part of the defense that was played so well last year, and I don't know, he's not pacing stuff, but he does do other things for us, and I love that Livramento. I think he's brilliant, but I'm not Eddie Howe. I'm not anyone. Get rid of anyone. I think they can stay as long as they want to be honest. Even like Matt Ritchie comes on the scores the other day, but he can stay as long as he wants, as far as I'm concerned, as well. And I just this Eddie Howe stuff. I just can't get on board with it. How he can go from coaching a team that was about to get relegated to getting us into the Champions League, and then people saying he's only a top 8, top 10 manager. I'm like, fine, I'll take top 8, top 10. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in football, and it's like, careful what you wish for. So I know West Ham were talking about getting rid of David Moyes and stuff, and you think if that. I'm not a Moyes fan at all, and I can understand exactly why West Ham fans probably don't want him there, because he's not playing great football and stuff. But they did win a European, they won a European trophy, and it's careful what you wish for. Now, to be honest, Jack, it'd be interesting to see, because I know a lot of people were like, I was never really on the Wenger out brigade, and this whole Arsenal only play for the top 4 and stuff. I'll tell you what, I'll take 10, 15 years of top 4 if you can guarantee it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, look at the years in between. You're
not been great,
is it? Exactly that.
It's not been great, and there's a lot of careful what you wish for.
Yeah. It's taken an awful lot of money and awful lot of time to get back to the Holy Grail of the Champions League and challenging again. I reiterated that we're not in with winning the league. I'm sure of it, but it's taken a lot of time to get to where we are now, and there's still lots to do. There's still plenty of money to be spent and effort to be put in. So yeah, I completely agree with you, and I completely agree. I think Eddie is a special person for anybody linked to AFC Bournemouth, and what I love is that he's proving what we all thought about him somewhere else now at a bigger club with a huge fan base, and he's got the love and the support of it. And he I'm sure but he properly threw himself into it. Like, he sold up here and moved there. Like a lot of managers would at least wait a year or a year and a half into it to make that decision and make that move. It was all or nothing. His kids are now up there. They're all at school in Newcastle. And I think he said several times about, you buy into the town, you buy into the city, you buy into it, and as a custodian of the city, you become super important, and he understands that. And I think his time at Bournemouth in a much smaller pond, he understood that and learnt that very quickly, how important his role is. Not as a self-important person, more as understanding that the impact, what he does and how he does it, really.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Good. Right. Anyway, we've spoken a lot of football. What I really want to know, and I'm sure other people listening, is how are you getting on? How are you doing with your Man v Fat journey? Should we start right at the beginning?
Let's go back.
What made you sign up? What happened there?
Well, yeah, it feels like ages ago, doesn't it?
A long time, mate.
Yeah, it's a while ago, isn't it?
I can't remember who said it, but I saw just a little thing on Facebook pop up, and I mulled it over for a little bit, and then I was just like, oh, this could be a good thing to do. Obviously, you know, weight wasn't where you wanted to be, fitness levels weren't where you wanted them to be, and it played a lot of football growing up, and I haven't played for years, to be honest. And I saw it, and I just thought this could be the thing that helps, you know, kickstart everything. So yeah, I've been there from like week one.
So where were you at in your life at that point? What sort of what were you weighing? How are you feeling about yourself? And what sort of age are you? I'm not convinced I know exactly how old you are. I'm sort of early 40s. Is that wrong? In late 30s?
I am 38, so I just turned 38 at Christmas.
Cool.
So what was it? Has it been 2 years? So I think I would have been
two and a half years. I think we've been going.
I was probably about 36 then, 36 ish.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we started in the summer or winter, and my memory's shot at the best of times. But yeah, I'm 38 now, and if we started 2.5 years ago, then I was 2.5 years younger, wasn't I? So, yeah. Funnily enough, I when I started with the Yellows, so we're just season 3 with the Yellows, aren't we? So season 1, I weighed exactly, well, bar half a kilo where I started. So
right.
All the
and you've not? Did you leave at all? Because I know you started at the very beginning. So you've been here that entire time?
Been here the entire time, yeah. So season 1, I lost 13 kilograms. Had a good season, good start, and then
you won the league first season.
No, we didn't. No, the
Yellows. Oh no, you were orange, weren't you? Sorry, you were orange. Yeah. That was the Yellows first season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, sorry. So you lost 13 kilos in the first season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. To be honest, I look back at it. I've still got all the, the diary and stuff, and it was slow and steady wins the race. And then at the end of 14, 15 weeks, you get there, and there's obviously I've done a little bit better this time around, but even then, I was losing, half a kilo, 0.2, 0.8, and then slow, and you just keep ticking over. And that's why I think this last man standing that Steve's done is just bloody brilliant. It just keeps you ticking over a little bit, and then it's at the end of the season, it shows, and you can see it. So I had a good first season, and then a bit of a wobble in the second, and third was pretty much the same, and then we moved into the whites, and then it was just up. It's just been up, down, and then started with the yellows, and we had our first game, and we're fortunate with the yellows. We've got some good players, and we won our first game quite comfortably.
Yeah,
I was like, this could we could have a shout here, and I think we've been there or thereabouts. Last season wasn't brilliant in the overall, but even on the pitch league, we were sort of in contention for the last few weeks, even with results going our way. So
yeah,
I needed something to kickstart me, and I sort of said to the wife and stuff that I'll get my head down and crack back on with it and stuff. And the football was good, and because it's really hard, isn't it? I remember at Whites we didn't have a keeper for a bit. We struggled with numbers, and then you just lose a little bit of motivation and stuff. And even sort of towards the end of the Oranges, I think we all got to a point where we were struggling with numbers, and it's difficult when you're struggling with numbers, or if you haven't got a keeper, it is really hard.
Yeah, very difficult to motivate, isn't it?
To motivate, and you know what it's like. You have a day where you don't eat well, and you think, "Oh, I'll just write the week off," and then that before you know it, that's 3 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that's quite interesting that you lost that amount of weight in the first season, and then you kind of just sort of went a little bit down for like 3 or 4 seasons until it clicked in again. So what do you think made it click again for you? Just that sort of first result, or the first time you got together with the Yellows and you thought this team's a good team, it's good, you were good for each other? Is that what kind of clicked you back in again, or was there a mental thing, or was there something that happened outside of it that kind of clicked you back into that? Because you have been probably the most consistent player over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
To consistent. I mean, you've lost, it must be 28, 29 weeks in a row now, right? That you've lost weight for, because you haven't missed a week. Is that right? Am I right in saying that, or am I making that up?
There was 1 week where I maintained, so I used my grace week. There was
okay.
I used my grace week in last season's Last Man Standing.
But even then, you maintained, so you didn't put weight on.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So for what, 2/3 of a year, you've consistently lost weight. And do you put that down specifically to the Last Man Standing thing, or there must be something that's kind of clicked for you and helped you to do what you've been doing? Because it's quite incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. So twofold to that question. The Last Man Standing really did help. Sort of after you do the first sort of 4 or 5 weeks and you're still in, and you've got a grace week, and you think, oh, actually I can keep going. And then even when you're not feeling great, or I think there's been a couple of times where I hurt my ankle, my knee and stuff, and there would have been weeks where I would have just not come to football, and then gone, well, I'm not going to get weighed this week either, so I'm going to just eat whatever I feel like eating, which hence why season, had 4 or 5 seasons of just going up and down and just basically ending up where I started.
Yeah.
But with the Last Man Standing, I was like, no, I'm going in. And I think it was Jack mentioned it on a few pods ago. I brought the kids in at 7:30 1 week, so I was like, I'm not missing it. I'm staying at least just to get into the Last Man Standing and to keep that going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to help me get to, mindset, I already knew I needed to, pull my finger out and start doing a bit better. And then, what with a good result to start off with, you sort of get a little bit of a kick and stuff, and sort of it all worked out. But it is difficult. Everyone's got to find the thing that works for them. So I've tried the sort of slim fast shakes, and I've done the Weight Watchers thing, and there's all these different things that sort of help. And I do like a 12/8 fast as well, which to be honest, I've tried to do when I'm in the good phase of losing weight and stuff. I try and do the 12/8 fast and stuff, which is something that Steve put me on when we were in the Oranges, and actually it works quite well for me. I can see why it's quite difficult for some people to do a 12/8 fast, but for me it's quite good. I used to get up really early for work, and I don't like eating first thing in the morning. But in the mornings I'm very much shock and awe, so I like to get up and get out. I hang around, and then it just doesn't suit me. So then you get into work, and sort of it'd get to 9:30, 10 before when I was at work, I put to the canteen and get a slice of toast or whatever. So when Steve was sort of saying about the 12/8 fast, I was like, well, I don't have breakfast till 10 anyway, so if I can just hang out till 12, it's fine. And then dinner I like to have sort of between 7 and 8 anyway. So I found that really helped me. But what I have done since we went into Oranges, and so we were in season 3 as our current colours, aren't we? Yeah. So it would have been 2 seasons ago. After trying all that stuff, and it just didn't really work for me, I actually ended up going to like a weight loss clinic in Moordale.
Okay.
And there was obviously different things you can do, and I started off taking some phentermine, which is like a suppressant, really, an appetite suppressant.
Okay.
Which did help. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it does help, but obviously there's side effects and stuff, which obviously if anyone wants to talk about and whatever, that's fine. So that's that. And what that really helped do was reset. So I still go now, although I don't take it anywhere near as I used to take a sort of tablet every day, if you like, and it's sort of like a 12-hour suppressant type thing.
Right.
But when you go there, it's very much they really keep on to you about what you're eating and stuff, because the easiest thing to do is to take it and not eat, because you don't feel hungry, but that's not sustainable, and it's not a good way to lose weight, and it's not healthy. So what that's helped me do is just sort of reset myself. So then you sort of start with, right, although you're not feeling hungry, you still need to eat your dinner and stuff. So it's then I can make it a healthy one and stuff, and it just helps you get back into a rhythm. And sort of the first 2 or 3 months helped reset me, and then slowly I've just carried on in that way. And
so you found a nice sustainable way to keep dropping the pounds.
Yeah, and it, like I said, the big thing that helped was it just helped with that reset thing, because it sort of kicks the urges to snack all the time and stuff, and you don't feel like it. And then, I mean, the downside to it is it a downside? The thing you need to just focus on is to remember you still do need to eat, and you need to have your lunch and your dinner, and that's where the 12/8 fast helped again.
Are you still doing that now then? Are you doing that, just eating between 12 and 8?
I still try and stick to 12/8 where possible.
Yeah.
But obviously, with kids and weekends and stuff, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Yeah. But then you just need to start making healthy choices again, which is where it's all really helped and stuff. And obviously, exercise, you've got to do your exercise, because you've got, it's not like a long-term solution. It just helps. Well, helped me anyway. Do that sort of whole reset and get into a better mindset, and it's all habits.
Well, there's a lot of good research around the sort of, they call it the 16/8, but it's eating between 12 and 8 or whatever 8-hour period throughout the day, getting your calorie intake throughout 8-hour period. I mean, the physical benefits it has, even if you do it short term, to resetting your gut and giving your gut time to where it doesn't have to digest food and stuff like that. It has proven physical and mental positives, and there's been loads and loads of research over it. So although it can be used as a weight loss thing, it's not just for that. I think it helps obviously if you calorie control it, but I think you're right, it resets, it gives your body a chance to kind of get rid of some of the nasties that it's stored up, and allows your gut to kind of reset and become more efficient. And when you've done that, has it helped you kind of mentally, and do you feel more energized from doing it? Because there's lots of sort of reports about it can benefit in so many different ways.
Obviously I feel much better anyway. I don't know if that's just purely down to sort of
the weight loss,
the 12/8 fast itself, but the weight loss, I mean, it's you just feel so much better about yourself, and that's what helped. That's sort of what helps keep you going as well, because you can see that you feel better, and it's such an easy thing to say, isn't it? But once you get going, it just gets a bit easier. You just get into the habits.
Yeah.
So
well, it's certainly benefited on your pitch, mate, because you're as nimble as hell now. You're a nightmare.
Yeah, that's the bit that's funny enough, it's probably been a little bit the hardest bit for me, because I was listening to Ollie's pod the other day about his, he's talking about rugby and going back and all that, and that really like resonates with me, because I played a lot of football when I was younger, and when I put on a little bit of weight and I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I wasn't playing football to the levels I wanted to play and do the things that I wanted to do, I just knocked it all on the head. So coming back, and still, when I was heavier, before sort of I started losing all the weight, you want to play football, you really enjoy it, but you end up compensating for yourself, because you're like, I should be there, but I can't get there, so I'm going to have really to stay here. And then you want to do the thing, your head's telling you, you need to be there, you want to do this, and you have to manage yourself, and that was quite a difficult thing to sort of overcome. So it's really good, and that, talking about like the whole thing helping and keeping you motivated, the fact that actually I'm starting to be able to go, oh no, I can go and cut that ball out, or just doing a quick and knock it around someone, and just start getting to a place where I feel better in myself playing football, and like I'm contributing is really good, and is another thing that sort of helps helps tick you over and make sure you're keeping on top of things.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely a key player for the Yellows, mate. You're technically very, very good on the ball, solid at the back, and like you say, you can get round a player quite easily, and it's very dependable there.
The weird thing is, like, I'm not a defender,
right? Where would you normally play? Then midfield, centre midfield, maybe?
Yeah, I used to play out on the left wing when I was for my youth football. My best position used to be like a behind the front two, but obviously, it doesn't really sit well with like a 4-4-2 type thing. So I didn't really get to play there much. But yeah, I was out on the left wing. But
so
again,
you'll be back out there soon, mate.
No,
another couple of seasons, you'll be there.
Yeah, it might be a bit more than a couple before we're out there. But the whole thing about overcompensating for yourself and stuff is, when we were younger, we were drilled in, don't go up if you can't come back. And I'm very much with that. I'm not going to attack if I'm.
You want to tell Jack that?
Sorry, what?
Don't go up if you can't come back, Jack.
Yeah, he starts off with the best intentions down the back. So I just stay at the back just because I don't want to be the one that's just not helping out. But yeah, I'm itching,
there, mate.
I'm itching to just try and get forward and do that. And it's really good that we're sort of getting to the place where that's, I can at least do it maybe once in a game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You
Nice.
As Ben said, even before your kind of superb weight loss the last couple of seasons, you'd always go, oh, fuck, up against Dimi at the back tonight.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, you're just so like the immovable object. You're just so you couldn't get past you. You're just so solid. And another player that's like that is Christian. Christian always gets me. I'm like, it just wins the ball every time. Reads it and just knows how to position himself and how to stop you playing. And you've definitely got that. And if that's not a natural position for you, I'm very surprised. So fair play, mate. It definitely seems like you're going to get yourself further up that pitch and become more of a problem for everybody as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd very much like to, but I don't know if you guys stopped playing football for a while, but I'm still finding that I'm still not like hitting the ball like I could. And
the same, mate.
You just like I used to be able to ping a ball, not a problem, and I still don't feel I can strike a ball comfortably, which is another reason why I don't go up there. I don't want to be the one like wasting shots and stuff and not doing it. So that's all coming back.
It's difficult if you don't play for a long time. I mean, I didn't play properly for about 20 odd years when I joined Man v Fat. So it takes a long time, and I can't hit a fucking barn door. I have good weeks and bad weeks, but
I've still
that's
not.
The way it is.
I mean, I used to play 11-a-side for years and years and years, and I've still not got it since when I was 20. So the last time I played proper 11s and I feel like I'm half the player I was even then. Funny, I can't. Every other time I hit the ball, I've hit it. One time I hit it cleanly, the next time I hit it really poorly.
Do you know what though? You do see flashes of it. You see flashes. I've seen flashes of excellence from a lot of players down there who clearly have played football before.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
And that's nice when that happens.
Dimi, what I wanted to ask you was back to the kind of weight loss. We know you've had 2 excellent seasons with the Yellows. Where do you? I'm kind of keen on numbers, but where did you start at the start of the first season with Yellows then, and where are you now? Like in terms of actual numbers, how much have you lost? And
so I started off at 158, which is shocking to admit and say, but it's the truth. It's where it was. I was 158 point something, and I'm now 118.6.
Whoa.
Christ.
Wow.
So
it's funny, when I was
shit.
anticipating your number, I was thinking he's probably going to say 130. I wasn't expecting 180 or whatever he said. So
that's incredible.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say, oh, I'm at 132 or something. I would have thought, that's phenomenal. But Jesus. That's amazing. I was actually going to say it was written in the roundup that you have lost more than 40 kilos.
Holy moly!
Which is unbelievable.
That is some feat, man.
It,
that is incredible.
Yeah, the only little asterisk is that's obviously since I started, and when I started as a yellow, I wasn't quite. I mean, I was, for all intents and purposes, it's the same, but there is actually, I think there's probably about a kilo and a half. So I
don't play it down, mate. Don't play it down.
No, I'm not playing it down, but it's just just to be honest, more than anything. But yeah, it's been really good. And, I think we've all been there, haven't we? Where the first couple of weeks, you get sort of half decent numbers, and it was just, like I said, it's like I think I've averaged like a kilo a week. I think it works out to
incredible.
Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more.
It's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, for every sort of 2 kilo loss, there's been a 0.4 and a 0.5 or whatever. But yeah, it's just slow and steady, and just being consistent, just getting into good habits is sort of is the key to it. I think everyone
that's
sort of
definitely the way to do it. I mean, we're big advocates of losing between half a kilo and a kilo a week is a good steady progress.
Oh yeah, 100%. So as the chat in the yellows, we sort of set ourselves targets, openly to talk about what we want to do and stuff. And I've sort of said this season I just want to stay in last man standing. That's not my main thing. I just want to stay in it. So if I can do 0.1 every week, I'm fine. That's fine. My sort of I like to set like a sort of a minimum, or what I really want to do, and then stretch it a little bit, and then go for like an exceeding type one. So I've sort of said exactly that: 0.1 to stay in last man standing every week. If I can get half a kilo a week, that's great. That puts me right on track for hitting 30% by the end of the season.
Wow.
And then a kilo a week again would be absolutely insane, and I'll be doing backflips down the road. But
you'll be out in that left wing, mate.
Yeah, I might venture out wide.
That's incredible.
So
amazing, mate.
You soon might be able to actually do those backflips.
Yeah, maybe off a trampoline.
But I mean, realistically, we often talk about BMI and that as a reading is a little bit sometimes not quite the correct way to sort of register your perfect body type, because you're quite a short guy, right? I'd imagine for you to become a BMI boss, you're going to have to get down to probably some kind of weight like Robbo. And do you see that as a realistic target, or is that something you've just completely written off?
No, absolutely not. I'm not on board with the BMI sort of as a metric to sort of to do that. And to be honest, funnily enough, I looked at it the other day. We were talking to someone. I think it was what Ollie was saying. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. He's probably not going to get down. He might have actually even said it on the pod himself. He's not going to get down to his BMI weight, because that's not where he wants to be, and he's never been there even when he's at his healthiest. And I'm exactly in that boat. And actually, after looking at it the other day, I need to lose more than I've already lost to get to my BMI. My BMI, my healthy BMI is like 72 kilograms, and even when I was like. When I was like 16, 17, when I was like 16, 17, and I was playing Saturday league football, Sunday league football, and Sunday youth footballs, I was playing for like 3 games a weekend, and we used to do other things as well. Did a little bit of boxing and played a bit of hockey and played a bit of basketball and stuff. I was never, even I remember once went into. Might have even been somewhere like Boots, where you can do like your sort of BMI, your percentage fat and stuff, and you come off that, and they were like, I was in the overweight category, and I was just like, I think the body fat at the time was less than 5%, and you're just thinking, what on earth is this? And I just don't buy into it. I get the whole man fat thing needs to have a metric and a basis, and that's fine, but I'm not going to be aiming to get into a healthy BMI range at sort of 72 kilograms, whatever it is. I think if I can drop another...
72 just feels like
it's mad, isn't it?
That's a number. It feels mad, doesn't it? Really, Like,
yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at, and I'm taller than you, but I'm almost 6'1", and mine is something like mid 80s.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, if I'm between 85 and 90, I'm going to be happy. I'm
Yeah,
going to be
Christ,
very
yeah.
happy. Like that is like, yeah, I'm be very happy. So yeah, I think 70 odd seems quite.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it doesn't. It's a good measure nationally. I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
As a sort of from an NHS point of view, it gives you a good guideline about roughly of where you should be. But we all individually know our own bodies, and we know our own body types, and we know when we're feeling good or bad, or we know if we're a bit heavier than we should be, because it doesn't take into account muscle mass as well. So if you do lead a very active lifestyle and you're playing a lot of sport or doing the gym or boxing or whatever, you're going to have considerably more muscle mass than fat. So, and that's obviously heavier than fat as well. So it's a difficult one. I stand with you, Dimi. I will never be able to hit my BMI just because my body type doesn't suit that. I'd like to get obviously a bit more off, but I'm never going to look to hit that. The sort of what they deem to be a BMI boss or maintenance. It just won't happen for me. It would be impossible, and I don't think I'd look very well for it either.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that ultimately you don't have to be in a healthy BMI range to be healthy.
No.
As in, you don't have to have hit that maintenance in order to be healthy.
No, not at all.
Necessarily. And I'm not saying I'm advocating for people saying, oh, okay, you just, forget the weight loss, just try and be healthy. But ultimately, it's if you're down at near enough that kind of area, you can still be very healthy. It's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I think when I first started off, we said get down to 17 stone, which is, I admit, this whole thing's got me really confused with stone and kilograms and stuff. I've just when you feel you're into something, I'm into the kilograms now, so I can't deal with stone. But I remember when we first said it, and I set a target which I thought was just never going to happen, and that was 17 stone, which is like 108 kilograms, I think, somewhere around there. So
yeah,
I'm 118. I've got 10 kilograms to go to get there, and I'm sort of thinking somewhere like 15, 16 stone will be, I think, probably where I'd be happier.
Yeah.
The other things, obviously, we're getting old as well, so you're never gonna.
It gets harder.
It does get harder, and obviously, you're not going to be able to relive your youth as well, are you? So, yeah, if I can get down to like 100 kilos, I think that might be the point where, we started off this conversation earlier tonight about there was, maybe pulling back and stopping, and I think getting to about 100 kilos will probably be the point where I start thinking about, is it right to step away and stuff, because
yeah,
that's a brilliant target though, isn't it? 100k is a brilliant target, and you never know when you get to that, you might go, actually I might get to 90, or maybe I could get to 90. You never know until you get there, do you?
Yeah, I think that would be more about whether I'd want to get that low, if you see what I mean, because like you were talking about your body types and stuff, there's
Correct.
Like you said, there's a point where you just probably it's too low and you don't feel healthy and right in yourself anyway. So
yeah,
I think that would then start be whether I'd want to get that low, or I suppose 90s, and I don't know what 90 kilograms is in stone anymore, but yeah, I suppose something anywhere around there. But this is, in my head, this is a weight loss league, and I don't want to be taking up a space when someone else really wants to come in and start their journey. So I think when it starts getting to around 100, I think you probably start thinking to yourself, right, where's my out now?
Yeah,
fair enough.
Oh mate,
well, you're well on your way, aren't you?
Yeah, outstanding. Absolutely
amazing work.
Yeah, the other thing is I can't imagine starting with a team of colours, obviously with the yellows and your respective colours is the last season, but I can't imagine starting a 3-year cycle and not finishing it with someone as well. So there's all that to play into it as well.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah,
definitely, mate.
And the cycle's it's basically, to all intents and purposes, each cycle is about a year, isn't it? Each three seasons is roughly a year. If you incorporate if you take the weeks that we don't play, like Christmas and Easter and stuff, it's almost a year. So
not.
What is it? 28, 30, 2. No, it's not quite. No, so 4 seasons would be a year.
Yeah, 40, 45 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 45 weeks is 3 seasons, isn't it? If you include the gap. So, not quite, but not miles off. Yeah. So. Well, Dimi, thank you.
Well, mate, I have to say,
I
think you've been absolutely outstanding, and such a lovely guy to have at the club, and you're just a top man, and I think you've done absolutely outstandingly. So I just personally, I know I've spoken about you a lot, and I bring your name up a lot because, and it's all true, I totally admire what you've done and what you do week in, week out, and I think you're a fantastic guy, and it's a pleasure to know you and play against you most of the time. I don't think I've ever played with you, Dim.
No, we haven't, and I think it's probably about time now just to take a second, if you don't mind, guys. I just want to say thanks to like anyone and everyone that's ever come up to me and said you're doing really well, or you're looking great, or good game, or all of that stuff. It's just brilliant that we can all do that with each other, and I'd like to think that we all do it as much as we can and stuff. And maybe I'm a little bit guilty of not doing it as much as I should do, really. But that for me, and Ben, you sort of saying playing against me, and maybe sort of playing together and being a great guy and stuff. That is just sums up the Bournemouth Man v Fat, doesn't it? And it's just absolutely brilliant. So just big thanks to all the kind words that everyone's ever said on the pod and stuff, and personally and outside and in the weigh room and on the pitch and stuff. It's just a big thanks to everyone, and I'm doing well, which is good news, but I think it's a reflection of everyone else as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's well said, mate. Really well said.
And really well said.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You bang on anybody that has helped, and those little moments. I think this is exactly why it's more than just a football league. If you want to play football, get in touch with George and go down Little Down on Sunday night. But if you want to be in a community where we support each other and help each other, this is Man v Fat. This is what it's about.
Yeah. Second everything you just said there, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah. Top man. Well, thank you so much, Dimi. That's a real good insight. Hopefully you want to hang around for a little bit of football talk and some fantasy talk if we've got the time. I know we might need to rattle through a few subjects because rightfully so, you've taken up a very good portion of what we wanted to use tonight. And let's see what else we can cram in now. Save Josh a big editing job as well.
Well, as you're here, Dimi, and you're a Newcastle fan, one of the things that's come out in the news is about Dan Ashworth and him leaving and his gardening leave. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm sure you're pretty unhappy with Man United, like many people are in many of these instances. But I'd be keen to understand what your thoughts are.
Well, just for the record, I'm unhappy with Man United all the time. So this is not the core of it all. Well, I suppose I don't blame Man United for wanting Dan Ashworth. He's good at his job and stuff. But we're in a good position as a club. We've got money behind us, and we don't need to let Dan Ashworth go any earlier than he has to. So if Man United don't want to pay to have him early, go and sit in his garden, as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of people have put sort of put 2 and 2 together. I remember we wanted Lingard on loan, and United told us they wanted £16 million fee for 4 months.
Brilliant.
So £16 million fee, for a 4-month loan is going to cost you 20 million to have Dan Ashworth.
So, don't you?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And couldn't happen to a nicer club, to be honest. I personally, I don't see why Dan Ashworth wants to go, and I don't know if that's because I'm a Newcastle fan. I don't get it personally, but I'm not Dan Ashworth, and if I was, I'd be a lot richer.
In theory, and this is not my bias, I can understand why he would want to do it. It's a ridiculous challenge at arguably one of the biggest clubs, or is one of the biggest club in the world, isn't it? In some level, so I can understand from a challenge perspective why he would want to go, but I agree with you in that he's not long into his tenure at Newcastle, really, and he's been doing amazing work there, and you're steadily growing. and especially with all that money behind you, I just, if it was another year later or 2 years later, I could understand it a little bit more. But how long's he been there? What, a year and a half, is it?
Yeah, not long. And the other thing is a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
so
A lot of stuff in the press has been crediting him with signings that were made before he even turned up, which is like another thing that drives me insane. They're crediting
lazy journalism.
They're crediting him with signing Bruno. He's already there when he turned up. Do you know? And for me, it's like, even if he does well at Man United, which I'm sure he will do, just not, he's done well. Let's not take that away from him. But what's everyone going to say? Oh, you've brought Man United back to where they should be and where they are. Whereas at Newcastle, he can be the one that he can leave a legacy. That's the bit that I don't understand. He could be immortalised sort of in Newcastle and do something that no one's ever done. But as a Man United, it's only going to be you've just taken us back to where we should be anyway. So I don't know. To be honest, I don't think United are in a great place either. I know Ineos have taken over. They only own 25%. I know they've taken over the football duties or whatever they've called it.
I mean, there's optimism there, isn't there? But we'll see. And the whole idea of trying to get someone like Dan Ashworth, this whole we're Man United, we're the best of the best, we need the best of the best, and that's the whole idea. And I don't like that.
I agree with that
on
definitely.
some level. I don't like that attitude, because I think it's just elitism, and I just don't. It's the 30 years of success which has warped every mind in the country on what Man United are and should be. But anyway, that's by the by.
I think also it's worth considering, like you said, there is a little bit of elitism in it, but if you want to be, it's no different than going to sign a top player from a club as well. If you want to be best in class, you need best in class throughout the club. Everything that Man City do and everything that's thrown at them negatively, what you can't argue with is how they've structured that club and how well it's run from its youth all the way to Pep. Everything is in sync. Everything is the same. And I think United, as you've referenced, Josh, United is so fragmented and so far from that. It's a million miles. And what they've done is they've gone out to pick the best in class they can find. And that's what they've got there. That's who they've managed to pick up in him, and somebody that's been accredited for the right reason, and as Dimi said, wrongly credited for some of the stuff that's happened. It seems like he's the right man for the right job. And if you want to move forward, you've got to go after the best.
Yeah, I mean, they did pick up Omar Baroda, isn't it, as well, from Man City. So again, another best in class potential. So
exactly.
Anyway, Dimi, it's meant to be about Newcastle United, not as we are referring to United as Man United, as there is more than one, as I'm sure you'd like to be reminded. But it's really, I guess it's a loyalty thing, isn't it, really, from a Dan Ashworth side, more than anything else. I don't know if that's
he's jumped ship relatively recently anyway, so it's definitely somebody that it would be keen for a move, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Ben, Michael Beale, recent loyalty. God, I don't know, that word does not go with the chat, does it? But I'm going to
turn into Jack now. Turn into a little rant.
Obviously, he's just left Sunderland.
Good. It's the best thing that could happen to Sunderland. I was a bit sad to see him go there in the first place. So I knew what he's like. The guy's a massive arsehole. There's no two ways about it. And I know I've had my say on the group chat, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know why he's doing what he's doing, because going back to when he was with us, let's face it, he was an assistant coach with Steven Gerrard, at Rangers, and then went to Villa. And we gave him his first full-time senior coach role. And I'm not going to lie to you, he was brilliant. We were playing brilliant football. We were top of the league. He seemed to be completely committed. He'd got players in. He'd sort of convinced them that he was there for the long term, and there was a whole project going on. And it was with our crappy history over the last few years, it was a real shining light for us, and we were playing a really good brand of football, and he was getting everything out of the players, and it was all good. And especially then when he comes out with the whole no, I'm not going to Wolves because I'm committed to staying here. I've told players have moved their families here, and I've brought players in, I've brought my coaching staff in, and blah, yada, yada, yada. Brilliant, unbelievable. There is loyalty in football. This guy's the greatest guy that could ever be here. And then literally 2 weeks later, fucks off to Rangers. And everyone was absolutely fuming, and it was like rightly so, because you've just shot yourself in the foot. You've just come out and like full media, out, laying down his loyalty and laying down, all this bullshit to then throw that. It was always going to be downhill from that point on. And lo and behold, he flopped at Rangers. He's got booted out. He's gone to Sunderland. He's flopped at Sunderland. 12 games at Sunderland. I mean, Jesus Christ, they were playing good football before he turned up.
Yeah.
And then he's got sacked from there. I don't think the guy will get a senior coaching job, not in the top 3-4 leagues in the next year. I just can't see it, because
the whole thing about that,
what Sunderland were thinking.
Yeah.
Surely they've seen the same thing as you've seen and we've all seen. Like, what did they expect from him?
I know. I don't know. And now this whole thing about
a real good game.
But this is it, you see, because I mean, he did have. I mean, Villa fans will tell you when he first came to us, Villa fans said, well, Villa started playing shit because he left and Gerrard didn't know what he was doing. So then Villa went from being a pretty decent side to being a shit side, and they basically said that's because Beale was the mastermind behind everything, and that's kind of
ego then.
But that kind of proved to be true, because when he came to us, we were playing really good a really good brand of football. We were playing like we'd never played before, really, and we put it all down to him. So he must have some kind of semblance of an idea of what he's doing. But I think it must be ego. It must be. I mean, this whole thing about the fake Twitter account where he's he's trying to big himself up as a third person. It's just madness. Yeah. I mean, what on earth?
Yeah.
For that to come out. I mean, it wouldn't be. It'd be too early to see him never in the game again. For me, I think the guy is disgusting. I can't. Because I openly came out when he came out and laid his heart on the table and said, no, I'm going to stay with QPR. I've committed to this. I put a whole big thing on. I'm on quite a few of the sort of Facebook groups, fan forums for QPR and stuff. And I openly said to everyone, this guy is the real deal. For someone to put that commitment and lay that kind of loyalty down in current football is really rare. And I think this guy's a keeper, and I think he could take us a long way, blah, blah, blah. And literally 2 weeks later, threw it back at us. I was absolutely fuming. And so I couldn't care less what happened to him, to be honest. And I think the best thing that could happen to Sunderland is for him to have gone. And I hope my Queen's Park Rangers fans are listening, and I hope they all agree with me. I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wow,
well,
that was some going, wasn't it, Ben?
And I managed not to swear too much in that as well.
No. See, to be honest, I knew he did all right at QPR. I was totally oblivious to the fact that he came out and said he's staying and then left 2 weeks later. That sort of went under the radar as far as I was concerned. He obviously Rangers and Celtic's always going to be a difficult job. So he'd obviously done really well at QPR, and you just think, oh, maybe there's something there that like you said, he'd been with Aston Villa and they stopped doing well when he left, and QPR were doing well, and then he went to Rangers. But Sunderland fans never wanted him from the start.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I didn't realise that was because sounds like he's a bit of an arse.
Yeah, well, this is it.
I just thought it just wasn't a big enough name for them, or maybe I don't think I'm saying that because they're just Sunderland, but I just thought maybe they felt that they wanted someone better, and he was never welcomed at all. Really, he was never, and it's been an uphill battle for him since, really.
Yeah, well, it's going to be even more uphill now.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't see him coaching in this country. Certainly not in the top 4 leagues at all. I think if he does get another coaching job, it'll be abroad. It'll have to be, because I just don't think people would touch him.
Not even like a Birmingham or Blackburn appointed someone since John Thompson left. What about?
Well, I suppose, as I say, there is no integrity, there's no loyalty in football. So maybe someone will pick him up and give him another chance if he can talk his way through the door. But I don't think any self-respecting fan of any football club would be mortified to have him walk through the door in the current situation because of who he is and what he's done and what he's said. I think he'd be. I mean, yeah. Well, that's. I mean. He'll probably walk into the Liverpool job at the end of the season.
Yeah, Michael Beale for England, eh? Oh well.
Oh mate, honestly, I've never felt so impassioned about someone who's been such a massive arsehole as I have for him. And it's simply because I think I genuinely felt when Wolves came in for him and he turned it down and said, I genuinely thought there was loyalty in the game, and he was a loyal guy who, has said his family was settled, all his players and their families, he brought them in, and he had a project and it was something he really was interested in and passionate about. I genuinely thought, because I'm a loyal person myself, and I've got quite high morals, and that's how I live my life. And I often feel that there isn't that in football. There is no loyalty in football. People go where the money is or whatever. So it was really refreshing to see that from someone and come out and say that. I thought it was really refreshing. So to then get that thrown back in your face a couple of weeks later, I think I was quite hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm quite impassioned about this
colours,
subject.
didn't
Yeah, totally. And I think that will follow him now for the rest of his career, wherever he ends up. Who knows? Don't know. Watch it.
Good.
I couldn't care less.
Well, we did have a couple of other things, by the way, I wanted to discuss. Moving on, but in the interest of time, I think we can probably, if you don't mind, lads, come back to them in a couple of weeks, because I think next week, because I think they're not going to change. It was around Tuchel leaving Bayern and the Xavi Alonso race, and then Mbappe to Real Madrid, which we were potentially going to discuss, but I don't think those are going to change in the week. So
no,
who knows? They might. But the only other thing we had was just a couple of minutes of fantasy football. If you feel we've got time,
of course.
2 minutes, yeah. Well, it was a double game week this week, and it's just finished. By the way, Liverpool won 4-1. Typical.
Yeah. None of the decent players playing though, are they?
Yeah, but none of the players you would have in your fantasy teams played, of course.
No.
Darwin and Jota both got injured in the first, and Salah, who just
Salah's been rested, isn't
he?
Yeah. Well,
don't think he's classed as injured for this game. I think they just rested him.
Yeah.
Well, they got a final this weekend, haven't they? But the oh no, they haven't. Yes, they have. Yes,
yeah, Sunday.
Cup final.
Sunday.
Yeah. So that means they blank, of course, next week. So for people, if you had, I did find it hilarious that Salah's been brought in by like 300,000 managers or something.
I know.
And I always think to myself, they must think that they get the Luton game even though he didn't play.
Yeah.
Because or that they forget that he's not got a game this weekend. So it's quite funny. Anyway, it was a bit of a terrible week, really. Quite a few people were playing triple captain on Haaland, and alas, the guy got over 3 expected goals and had 1 return.
Yeah.
So Ake and De Bruyne were rotated for their part of the double as well. So for anyone who had those, like me, well, I had Ake. So as it's blank game week this week, Chelsea, Liverpool, Luton, and
Tottenham.
Spurs. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people's teams are going to look a little bare this weekend.
Yeah.
I would just say, don't be afraid to take some -4 hits or things like that for some players if you feel they're merited. I personally am taking out Darwin Núñez and Diego Jota, so that's a -4 for me already.
Oh yeah.
And I may even consider getting rid of Estupinian because he's not playing. And I need to field 11 players, and that will be no bench. I might take the chance that he plays against Everton, but considering that, and only have maybe 10 players and not have the -4, but we'll think about that later. Saka has crucified me the last couple of weeks for not having him in my fantasy team, and I am now going to bring him in. So I apologise to all that have him, because he probably needs to stop scoring now. But there you go.
Solanke, get him out.
Solanke is also coming back in despite his fixture this weekend against Man City because he has a double in 28 and he plays Burnley the week after for Darwin Núñez. So those are my plans. In terms of players, so people like Arsenal defenders, so Saliba and Gabriel, Pau Torres from Aston Villa, or people like maybe, dare I say, Diego Dallo or someone like that from Man United, or Sergio Reguilon from Brentford, because they have a double coming as well. So they're people to look out for. Midfielders.
Got this week. West Ham.
There you go. On it straight away. So yeah, and then we've got midfielders. So you've got either West Ham midfielders, Wolves midfielders, or potentially Man United ones. So Hwang and Neto, Kudos and Bowen, Garnacho and maybe Fernandes if you can afford him. And then for people like me who don't have Saka, I'm going to have Saka. And then forwards, it's like Watkins, Solanke, Tony, Højlund, and Haaland if you don't have him already. Those are the kind of players I'd be looking at. I haven't settled on a plan for my chips, so my free hit, wildcard, things like that. But at the moment, I want to leave myself open. I want to leave myself open for game week 29 when there's blanks to maybe free hit, maybe not. So
I'm contemplating free hitting. I'm contemplating it.
What, this week?
Yeah.
I would normally suggest avoiding it because, firstly, before next week, we're going to find out who doesn't have a game in game week 29 because of the FA Cup. And that will tell you straight away how many players you're going to miss in 29. Now, overall, because usually on average the best teams goes through in the FA Cup, you're going to be missing your Arsenal players and your Man City players and all this kind of thing. So you're better off potentially using it that week.
Yeah, there's a week towards the end where there's always like only like 8 teams that play in a week, isn't there? At some point towards the end of the season.
So that's game week 29.
Right. Okay.
And that depends on the FA Cup. So if Chelsea beat Luton, for example, they won't play in that week. For example, if Man United beat Forest, they won't play that week. So anyone who makes it through in the FA Cup the next round will not play in game week 29, and their opponents won't play. So could be quite a few teams. The only guarantees at the moment I know are Wolves, West Ham, Villa are definitely playing. I'm someone else, but I can't remember who it is. But then you can use a free hit then. But if FA Cup goes the way you've planned, you might not want to use it then. You might want to use it on game week 37 or 34 right at the end of the season when there's lots of doubles, because everyone who blanks in game week 29 will play a double in
later on
game week 37, I think it is.
So that's ballsy to leave it till then though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. I think my current plan is free hit 29, wild card in 30, between 30 and 32, and then bench boost either 34 or 37, both of which will be double game weeks. Otherwise, if I can get away with it, I would rather save my free hit in 29, wildcard in 30 and 32, or 30, one of the two. Bench boost in 34 and free hit in 37, or bench boost in 37, free and 34. So to make the most of it, but we will see, because it depends on the FA Cup, which is why I suggest this week you do your best to just get through with taking hits and transfers rather than using your free hit.
Fair. Okay. I might change that decision then. I was going to wait till after the game tonight.
If you're missing like over half your team, then fair enough. But it is.
I'll be missing 5. I'll be missing 5 players, but the other ones that would play are real naff bench players. Do you know what I mean? And they're not really going to do anything.
But I think if you can play 10 players, and we're taking like a -4 or -8, it's worth doing that than it is playing a free hit.
I could play 11 if I took a -4.
Well, there you go. So yeah, I wouldn't free hit then. You're only really thinking free hit if you get into like -12s, -16s. Like
Yeah.
So
anyway. Interesting.
Those are my thoughts.
Well, they're very interesting thoughts, so thank you.
A ramble for 5 minutes, more than that.
Anyway, we digress slightly. Thank you so much, Dimi, for joining us. And
thank you, mate. Been a pleasure.
Telling your story, I genuinely didn't realise it was that much, and I think because of the period of time that it's been, it's proven that slow and steady wins the race. And only really within the last season have I started to notice it, but I'm sure you've noticed it a lot sooner than that anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I think towards the end of last season was getting a bit more noticeable, on the pitch anyway.
Yeah.
Which for me,
amazing.
For me, the big thing. I want to be better at playing football. So
well, there we go. That's if that's enough of an incentive for you, then it works. Everybody has their own goals to be set, and if you don't, I suggest you do. That's definitely the way to do it. So, mate, thank you so much for joining us, lads. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank
you very much, and
thanks, guys.
Have a cracking evening.
Right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.